Hello, this is Dr. Janson in the Walk Healthy series, and this lecture is about diet. Now, what does diet have to do with walking healthy? Well, a good diet obviously could help with obesity. A big gut makes your center of balance go off. It also helps to lower inflammation, arthritis, it helps with pain, circulation, it helps reduce swollen feet and ankles, and many other things. So you can see how important diet is to walking healthy. Now, just some basics. There are three food groups, three types of nutrients. There are fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. And that's it. Those are the only three types of nutrients that humans need. So first, let's start with fats. There are essential fats. They are called linolenic acid and linoleic acid, or otherwise known as omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-6 is in lots of foods, so it's easy to get. You're probably getting enough omega-6. But omega-3 is only in very few foods, seafood basically, but also in flaxseed and a little bit in walnuts. Luckily, there are fish oil capsules that you can take and flaxseed oil capsules, and I recommend you do that every day. Good sources of fats are avocados, coconut oil, olive oil, and butter. The next category is proteins. There are essential proteins or amino acids. They are histidine, leucine, isoleucine, methionine, phenylalanine, and others. You need to eat them. Your body can't synthesize them, and they're very important. You could think of fats as the function of your body. It's your brain, obviously, coating of your nerves, neurotransmitters, hormones, the functional part of your body. But protein is the structural part of your body. It's your muscles, tendons, ligaments, skin, and other tissues. Good sources of protein are fish, again, just like the fats, meat, poultry, eggs, cheese, and nuts. Okay, and now let's talk about the last category, which is carbohydrates. And before we go on, I would like you to name the essential carbohydrates. Oh, that's right, there are no essential carbohydrates. Your body has no problem synthesizing glucose from proteins and fats, so you don't need to eat carbohydrates. Before modern agriculture, carbohydrates, or plants, were not a reliable source of food. Seeds and fruits were ripe for only 2 weeks out of the year. It would take a lot of walking, picking, and gathering to get a handful of tiny seeds. Wild apples were the size of a small pea. But now we have giant fruits and seeds, and we don't work to get them. And we have them 52 weeks out of the year, not 2 weeks. We eat them every meal of the day, every week, year after year. You eat 3 meals of sugar, and the amount of sugar in your bloodstream is going to go up. Your pancreas is an organ that detects the rise in blood sugar, and it produces a hormone called insulin. Insulin goes into your bloodstream, and it interacts with the insulin receptor. Insulin is a key that matches with that receptor, just like a key matches with a locked door. The door opens, and then glucose is able to leave the bloodstream and enter cells. And then blood sugar goes down. But here is a sad fact. Insulin receptors are very fragile and weak. That made sense in the past. They didn't have to be strong. Blood sugar almost never went up because it was very hard to acquire carbohydrates. If the insulin receptor interacts too frequently with insulin, it will burn out or stop working. So you could have all the insulin in the world and your blood sugar will still stay up, because without an insulin receptor, there is no door to open to let the blood sugar out of the bloodstream. This situation, eating a lot of sugar 3 meals a day, your insulin level going way up, your insulin receptors stop working, and your blood sugar rising, is called type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance. The incidence of type 2 diabetes is going up in the United States, and this is because of diet. So what should we be eating? Well, there's two types of carbohydrates, basically. There's healthy carbohydrates and unhealthy carbohydrates. To know the difference, you would simply eat the carbohydrate, and then an hour later you would test your blood sugar, and then you would test it again in 2 hours. The good carbohydrate obviously is the one that causes the least amount of rise in the blood sugar, and a bad carbohydrate would cause a rise in the blood sugar, and a very bad carbohydrate would cause a rise of the blood sugar over a 2-hour period. Now, luckily, you don't have to test every kind of plant. It's already been done. But I have an even easier way to tell the difference between the good carbohydrates and bad. Good carbohydrates are vegetables, and everything else is bad carbohydrates. And I'm sorry, but fruit, in my opinion, goes in the bad carbohydrate department because of the way it's been genetically modified. So, in a nutshell, never eat starch. Starch, which is a processed food, is thousands of sugar molecules bound so tightly together that it no longer tastes sweet. That sugar in starch dissolves for hours. What a wallop of sugar that is. Your brain doesn't know what hit it. The cocaine receptors in your brain are hit, and it is euphoria. It is very addictive. Macaroni and mashed potatoes are comfort food because they cause this type of euphoria. Starches are grains and potatoes, regular potatoes or sweet potatoes. And grains are wheat, rice, corn, and oats. Wheat is bread and pasta, pretzels. If the thought of not eating bread is horrifying to you, you're probably well on the road to insulin resistance. If insulin resistance moves to the brain, that is called type 3 diabetes, and it's also on the top 10 killers of Americans in 2019. Very much on the rise, and you don't want that. Its common name is Alzheimer's disease. Insulin resistance is also harmful to the coronary arteries. It causes a red, raw wound on the lining of the coronary arteries. This wound is patched by cholesterol, which is a life-saving thing. But the cholesterol can build up as insulin levels never go down. And when the cholesterol builds up to the point of occlusion, that is treated with stents, blood thinners, and beta blockers. The damage of insulin resistance is a topic that I could speak about for hours, but I would much rather that you investigate this on your own, especially if the thought of quitting starch, of not eating bread, seems difficult to you. It's even more important that you do it. And please get started today. Eat healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, butter, coconut oil, fish oil capsules, and flaxseed oil capsules. Eat fresh meat, poultry, and fish. Eat eggs, cheese, and nuts. And eat vegetables. Eat a lot of vegetables. Your plate should be 3/4 full of vegetables, and try to eat a lot of different kinds, different colors, so it's interesting. Don't diet. Don't eat less food. Just make sure that you're eating healthy food. Walk and be healthy.